Smart 24, driving business.
Hello there, very warm welcome to the show. Thank you so much for staying tuned on Smart 24 TV as we do drive your business. My name is Anthony Sebale, and this is another financial markets edition. And of course, it's a Monday. Welcome back from the weekend. Thank you so much for, of course, getting to get glued on the #1 business channel in East Africa, giving you the latest business content 24 hours, 7 days a week. And of course, I'm glad to bring you back to what seems to be another week of busy financial market highlights, and I will be getting you straight through what's happening across the continent here in Africa and on the global scene, particularly in the American stocks there as well. And remember to follow the show on Twitter at Smart24TV. The hashtag is also financial markets, and you can also follow me at Anthony Sebale on Twitter as well. The show is proudly brought to you by Altex East Africa, and with Altex we are saying you can do something new. Now, Altex East Africa is the #1 private stock exchange. Under Zabo initiative, they bring you a new initiative in which you can invest in treasury bond markets across Africa and East Africa in particular. Now, you can start with as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. And what makes this very special is that you transfer the funds off your mobile wallet. That is from your Airtel money or your MTN mobile money. Now, to transact, you simply dial *292# and follow the prompts and be able to start your journey of investment with as little as 15,000 shillings a day. Now, you can also open the market at exactly 8 a.m. and 15 minutes past 3 p.m. In between there, the trading can happen. With Altex East Africa, we are saying you can do something new. Now, of course, let's get right into the business of the Uganda Securities Exchange here as per the Friday tradings. Now, on Friday, on aggregate, we had 4 equities on the Uganda Securities Exchange participate in trading, which seemed to be a better day than Thursday in terms of the number of equities that did participate in the trading on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Amongst these were Stanbic Bank Uganda. We did have MTN Uganda and Wumeme coming out as top movers, with also Cipla Quality Chemical Industries coming amongst the participants in the market. The day ended, fortunately, with 4 gainers and just 3 losers in a market that saw the old share index, which tracks the top, all the aggregate companies that are trading on the exchange, move upwards. Now, the Nation Media Group company led the gainers with a 1.89% gain on the Uganda Securities Exchange, closing at a price of 440.77 Ugandan shillings per share. Well, Nation Media Group seems to be coming back to its former glory, and yes, that's evident because of their market price currently that is rising, with the biggest rise on Friday last week. Now, Centum Investments as well recorded a gain of close to 1.22% in price, up to a price of 262.13 Ugandan shillings per share. As per Equity Bank Limited stock, they rose at a 0.96% to about 1,347.12 Ugandan shillings per share on the market. As per Jubilee Holding stock as well, they gained a 0.41% on their price, up to 5,341.91 Ugandan shillings. Remember, Equity Bank Limited still continues to be the most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Unfortunately, they have not seen any participation in the recent past, that is in the year 2023, but also 2022, as per data from the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, the bottom losers were also mainly cross listings from Kenya, with East African Breweries Limited coming at the bottom of the bottom losers there, with a total loss of 0.28%, down to a price of 5,246 Ugandan shillings. And KCB Group also lost a 0.27% down to a price of 1,129.65 Ugandan shillings per share. The Kenya Airways stock also fell 0.13% down to 111.80 Ugandan shillings per share. Remember, on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, we are still having the Kenyan shilling struggle a lot with the dollar against the dollar, and that's of course affecting how the stock is performing. And this is not, of course, giving an exception to the cross listings as well on the Uganda Securities Exchange. There's been a lot of reductions in the trades on the cross listings, and that has also been evident on the domestic market back then in Kenya, and that's of course is being affected by what we've seen as a race against the dollar and the Kenyan shillings. And that's of course getting to affect what the traders are looking at, especially in the long-term investments in the equities here on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, as per the traders on the market, Cipla Quality Chemical Industries returned with a volume of 5,000 shares that were recorded on Friday, that actually saw the stock maintained at 60 shillings per share. And as well, when you look at MTN Uganda, who was the biggest mover on the market, he traded close to 23,111 shares on the market at a price of 179.0 Ugandan shillings there per share. MTN seems to be stuck at 179. Remember last week and a couple of weeks before, the stock was trading at 180. It lost 1 shillings down to 179 and currently seems to be still stuck there. It's not a very good story for MTN at this point in time, but we can at least rely on the fact that the stock is still one of the most active on the bourse, and that of course gives us a little bit of hope that probably the stock price will go up in the near future, as we might of course anticipate. Now, when you look at Stanbic Bank stock, they traded at 6,996 shares, a volume that was seen as their biggest last week at a closing price of 21.0 Ugandan shillings per share. Remember, Stanbic Bank Uganda is still the #1 most traded on stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange, and currently, when you look into the data, they're also one of the cheapest stocks you can get, especially amongst the financial institutions that are listed. For example, comparing them with KCB, who is at over 1,000 shillings per share, comparing them with Equity Bank Limited at over 5,000, and then comparing them with probably National Insurance Corporation. Yes, that comes a little less, but at least from the major financial institutions, it is one of the most affordable stocks on the market. Now, remember, our very big company right now, when we talk about the Uganda Stock Exchange, traded also a big volume of 6,590 shares, closing at a price of 300.0 Ugandan shillings per share there as their closing price on the market. Overall, we had a total of 41,697 shares on the market, and at exactly 6.5 million Ugandan shillings turnover that was registered on the last weekday of trading. The current market capitalization of the Uganda Securities Exchange was also maintained at 20.9 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, the benchmark index, that is the all share index on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Remember, this tracks the aggregate performance of all the listings, both cross listings and domestic listings. This went up by 1.8 points, up to a price of 1,215 points on the market, representing a 1 week gain of 0.47%. So overall, if you've been investing in the Uganda Securities Exchange, your value or your stock has gone up at least 0.47% in a week. That's what the all share index at least is saying. And when you look at the 4-week performance or the 1-month performance, it is still on a loss of 0.95%. So investors generally in the last 1 month have made a loss of 0.95%. Yet the overall year-to-date gain here is a 0.21%. That is from the 3rd of January to date. That of course means that investors who came in earlier are still enjoying a little bit of gains here and there overall on the market. Now the USE local company index maintained its value at exactly 273.25 points, and this was at a 1-week loss of 0.31%. Remember, MTN lost some value there, and that of course contributed negatively to the performance of the local company index. As well, when you look into the domestic listings, we did have a few losses on several other domestic listings on the Uganda Securities Exchange. That affected the local company index in the 1 week. But the 4-week performance is also a loss of about 1.67%, and year-to-date gains are still up at 0.21%. That's definitely what's happening currently on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Right now, as I speak, the Uganda Securities Exchange market is open for trading. Market opens at exactly 9 a.m. and closes at 1 p.m. East African Standard Time. And to trade is quite simple. All you need is your SCD account or Securities Central Depository account to start trading on your favorite stocks on the Uganda Securities Exchange. How you open this account is quite simple. You can first of all get your phone, and if you have an MTN line, you dial *165 *97#, and then following the prompts, you can be able to open that SCD account. Now, if you are using the internet, you can still go to Google and go to www.use.org.com and get to www.use/easyportal.com. There they'll ask you for your email, the national identification number, and of course details like your names and the like, and a passport photograph probably, and you will be able to open that account. When you open the account, the rest is history. All you need is now to select amongst the 5 licensed stockbrokers on the Uganda Securities Exchange to be able to start your journey of trading on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Let's get to Nairobi quickly here and have a look at what the Nairobi markets also looked like. Remember, the Nairobi market is the biggest, is the busiest and the biggest capital market here in East Africa. Now, Nairobi Securities Exchange in total had 46 listings out of the 65 listings participate in the daily trades on Friday. Now, the day ended with a balanced trade at 20 gainers and 20 losers on the East African market. Nairobi Business Ventures this time around came on top of the gainers with a gain of 8.29% at a closing price of about 3.79 Kenyan shillings per share. At the moment also, Olympia Capital Holdings is registering a gain of 7.82% on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. British American Tobacco as well continue to rally the market with 7.81% gain as well on the East African busiest capital market. The Flame Tree Group Holdings Company also gained a 7.21% gain. Before we get into the losing side, let's get to look into the Nairobi Business Ventures and see if it's good for business right now on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Now, Nairobi Business Ventures is a business agglomerate that is dealing in shoemaking. It also deals in leather accessories retail chain operating under the brand name K Shoe. Now, currently, Nairobi Business Ventures on the Nairobi Securities Exchange listings is amongst the most valuable companies, coming in the 34th position out of the 65 listings on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The stock currently has a market capitalization of over 1.87 billion Kenyan shillings, and this represents about 0.094% of the close to 2 trillion Kenyan shillings market capitalization of the Nairobi Securities Exchange equities market. Now, the NBV stock currently went up on Friday by 0.29% by 0.29 Kenyan shillings up to 3.79 Kenyan shillings per share, which was an 8.29% gain. This was after a day that saw close to 63,700 shares traded at 241,140 Kenyan shillings there on the market. As per the weekly performance, the company gained a 5.28% value on their stock price, and 4-week performances, however, are still registering a loss of 5.25%. That's on a monthly basis. So there are little losses on the monthly basis. It seems like the activity now has just pushed the stock most recently to the gaining side, but in terms of 1 month, they are still counting a loss. Now, when you look at the company's stock price in terms of year to date, the company has gained 0.53%, which is currently the 28th year to date performance on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Investors, however, should take precaution because, of course, the bad performance in the last 4 weeks that hasn't depicted the current positive performance on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Nairobi Business Ventures, however, is the 16th most traded on stock on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, something that I think is highly commendable of the company. In the last 3 months, from the 17th of November to the 17th of February last Friday, they have recorded close to 4.66 million shares on the Nairobi market, and this is at an average of about 73,900 shares traded per trading session. Away from Nairobi Business Ventures, Olympia Capital Holdings, remember, came in the second place. And as we know, this is also another smaller company, small market capitalization company on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And currently, it's also one of the big gainers on the Nairobi stock. Remember, in the Nairobi stocks, we do have segments. We do have the main investments market segment for the big boys like KCB, Safaricom, and the like. We do have the growth enterprise market segment for the smaller companies. It seems if you invested in an exchange traded fund on the smaller stocks, definitely there's a lot of volatility in there, but even the gains are that big. They measure out in terms of what you're seeing as volatility because the stocks keep changing, and the stocks are quite small. They have very small prices. That means many people can afford them. But also when it comes to volatility, they vary so much. Every single day, you will find variations in the prices there on the growth enterprise market segment. And this is where we find companies like Olympia Capital, like NBV, and Samia Africa, and the like. So that's the beauty of the Nairobi market there. You have a lot of options to choose from. You're not limited, and most of the stocks in there are active. On the losing side, Express Kenya, another growth enterprise market segment company, was the biggest loser for the day at a 6.04% loss on the Kenyan market, down to a price of 4.51 Kenyan shillings per share as per the trading day. Now, TransCentury as well lost a 5.29 percentage loss, and Everready East Africa lost 4.35%. And the Cooperative Bank of Kenya as well lost the biggest there on the market. Now, as per the trading volumes, Cooperative Bank of Kenya had the biggest volume traded on the Nairobi market at 3.68 million shares that were traded on the market. He was followed by Stanbic Holdings at 900,300 shares, and KCB Group at 483,900 shares, and Safaricom at 205,400 shares that were traded. Regarding the performance of the benchmark index, the all-share index, it climbed upwards about 0.36 points up to close to about 128.02 points. and the NSE20 climbed 0.24% upwards, and the NSE25 climbed about 0.18% upwards. And that's the trade, my friend, from the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Now, comparing this day with Thursday, there was a little decline in the volume, about 68%, after a volume of 6.1 million shares was traded. And in terms of the turnover, there was also a 61% decline at a turnover of about 190 million Kenyan shillings. And the number of deals also declined by 6%. Now, on aggregate, the market capitalization also went down slightly from 2 trillion to 1.99 trillion on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. That's the trade, my friend, from Nairobi. And now allow me get to cross over to the US trading here on the big indexes on the US market. Now, as per the stock market performances last week, we had the Dow Jones futures open with a very huge gain there on their marketing day on Friday, but also on Sunday evening, along with S&P 500 and the Nasdaq futures, the markets opened, and a possible Tesla lithium deal is upcoming, along with Nvidia earnings in focus. That's what we have this week. Now, the major indices slashed solid midweek gains, finishing off with mixed concerns of inflation and Fed concerns weighing in on the stocks. Now, according to the Yahoo Finance, of course, and Bloomberg, the Nasdaq held key support, while the S&P 500 just undercut some levels. After a strong start of the week, several leading stocks suffered violent sell-offs, as well as different companies also announcing that they will be joining others, but then came back very strongly along the week. Among them, there was, of course, Albemarle and Etsy, as well as Shopify, among the stocks that were actually going down last week. The stock market rally still appears to be in the midst of a very normal pullback currently on the US market. But investors, of course, should be less aggressive, especially in the short run. That's according to what you're seeing on the US markets. Perhaps slightly trimming exposure by cutting losers and taking some partial profits here and there. Thank you so much, my friend, for joining us this morning and for staying tuned on Smart 24 TV. My name is Anthony, and you are watching Financial Markets. I'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. Remember to check out Altex East Africa, your number one private stock exchange. With Altex, we are saying you can buy and sell treasury bonds across East Africa at the convenience of your mobile phone. By simply dialing *292#, you can be able to buy and sell some of the latest bonds on the market with the biggest interests at the market as well. And remember also, Altex is regulated by the Capital Markets Authority of Uganda, and of course the government of Uganda. So under the government of Uganda, so you can be sure that your money is safe and secure, and you can start with as little as 15K. That is the deal breaker there for Altex East Africa. My name is Anthony. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. More is coming your way. Stay tuned on Smart 24 TV.
Smart 24, driving business.
taste of Uganda in a new international park.
Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292 hash. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.